Okay, usually we're following my mom's dating life, but this week I'm in the hot seat. We're talking about the time I used deodorant as lube, the time I hooked up in my mom's bed twice, and that guy I hooked up with in the past who had an extensive criminal rap sheet.
Oh, girl.
Everything you'd never want your mom to know, but I told mine anyway.
Unfortunately.
Hit the line, what's the tea? They talk about everything. Hold on, I'm calling my mom. Paul is here, Barb too, and they talk about everything. Hold on, I'm calling my mom.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Mom.
Hi.
Welcome back to another episode of Hold On, I'm Calling My Mom. If you're new here, I am Paul. Mom, also known as Barbara, also known as that bitch, also known as that girl, is here. She's tapped in. Hi, Mom.
Hi, honey. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. I'm excited to dive into this episode because I think that you'll be refreshed to know that the heat is off of you in the dating world for a minute,
I know. Thank
and
God.
it's back on me.
Thank goodness.
She says that was so much relief.
Where's my glass of wine? Let me sit
Yeah,
back
girl,
and
sit
enjoy
back.
the episode.
No, I don't know. I'm going to keep you on your toes, so I can't let you get too comfortable.
All right. I say a glass of wine, but I really mean my
Dunkin' Donuts, iced tea. There she goes. One day, can they sponsor us? Because I never seen someone keep Dunkin' Donuts in business as much as you for beverages. If you're new here, hi, welcome. If you are someone that shows up every week, I love you. Barb loves you. And you already
Absolutely.
know what we're doing. But this podcast is usually about helping my mom get back out there and date again. But today, we're flipping the script. Later in this episode, we'll be joined by Lamont White, aka gay dating coach, to break down the differences between gay dating and straight dating. Spoiler alert, it turns out we all kind of deal with the same messy shit, but just in different packaging, if you will. And you know about some messy gay dating, girl, because you've been there from day one to now, and you've seen it all.
Yeah, it's not just from you. It's like from your friends and stuff too.
Exactly. Exactly.
I feel like I'm kind of like an expert in giving advice for the gay dating world.
You kind of are. You've become our ally, spokeswoman, connoisseur. You're got
Medical go-to.
yeah. My friends, the bottoms that are in the group, they get a couple hemorrhoids that pop up. Barb's there to save the day with some witch hazel. She's just giving love all around for everybody, gay, straight, whoever. Barb's here for you.
I'm for it all.
But before Lamont joins us, I wanted to talk about my own dating story because I realized something. I've gone through every phase that I don't know what I'm doing, virginity loss, the trauma bonded 6-year relationship that I had, my slutty era, if you will. And now I'm in something really special and it feels different. And through it all, my mom was always there for me, silently and supporting me from the sidelines always. And it made me think, Mom,
I don't know about silently.
Oh,
I don't know if I was silent about it,
okay.
right?
I don't know. I kind of feel, I don't ever really feel like you stepped in. Like, when I've reflected back, obviously, given what you're going through, it makes me think a lot about my own personal journey. And I feel like I'm very engaged and present in your dating life, but I don't feel like you've ever stepped in and
said what, like, no, stop, this is ridiculous, like that kind of step in.
You never told me to leave a situation. Never. You never did. I've told you to leave a situation many, many times. You never have. And I thought maybe is that because at that point in your life you weren't ready to come to terms with you letting go of your relationship, and then it played into you maybe not, openly going to tell me that if you weren't there yet in your life.
Or you weren't there in your life, so who am I from my life perspective to tell you not to do
I'm
something?
not buying that.
No,
You
I agree with that.
you
No.
you knew I would figure it out.
That's what I'm saying. I know you would figure it out. So I never stepped in because your life wasn't in jeopardy. So I knew you would figure things out on your own and that you had to figure things out on your own.
Figure things out on my own. Okay. Well, we are talking about.
I can't with you. I can't.
Well, speaking of fingering,
Oh my God.
let's say I made some choices in the past, like using deodorant as lube. So let's run it back, shall we? Okay. So, I through this season so far, I really have been, I'm a very self-reflective person, I like to believe. And I've been thinking a lot about you navigating this and in your space. And I really think back of like, oh my gosh, I really came out at 20 years old. I immediately kind of just hit the ground running. There was really no playbook. There was it just,
No.
kind of, all right, you're going to do it and figure it out. And I look back now and I always think, damn, I wish I could be the person that I am now to give that little 20-year-old a little pat on the back and say, you got this, kid, make those right choices, but we live and we learn. But I think too, a pivotal moment in my life as a gay man, openly gay man, was, I slept with my friend. So this is how much of a person that I need to like study something just to know that I can be good at it or understand it better, is that I came out the summer of 2013 before I transferred to the college that I ended up graduating from. And I was like, I want to start a clean slate. I do not want to be like, I just want to own who I am.
Yes.
So coincidentally, I had a friend who I was close with at the time who also came out that summer. And in my mind, I thought, let's just do this because we need to learn. And at least it feels comfortable with somebody that you know. So I didn't even know what I was doing. But me and my friend, it just kind of happened one night. And I'm like, here I was living in this off-campus housing with like the Temple University football team. And I'm in here where, I randomly got placed with them. And I'm in my bedroom using deodorant as lube, trying to figure out sex with a man for the first time. Like the juxtaposition of where they were in my life to where I was, it's just.
Is it bad that I want to be like, aw, like, because like you didn't.
Because you feel pity for me that I use deodorant as lube?
No, because like there was
It was spray deodorant though. Does that count?
Ew. Burned. What did that burn?
I think it burned him.
No, like that, but I guess straight people are like that too. You just go and do it and you have no idea what you're doing. So I'll take my all back.
So that was my first time being introduced to sex. But hello. What
sounds like a shit show.
Hopefully he douched. Well, so then, I get that out of my system, right? And I'm like, okay, kind of, now I'm out here. I got one under my belt. I'm good to go. So then I meet my ex-boyfriend within a month of me being in college. So it's almost in that period of a month coming out.
It was pretty quick.
Yeah. It was very quick. I jumped in a relationship, in my opinion, too quick. I didn't even know myself as a gay man yet, if I'm being honest. Like I should have taken the time, I felt like, to understand who I was and how I saw myself and how I could show up for myself, as opposed to like just jumping in a relationship with somebody.
Yeah.
When you're very, very vulnerable, you're figuring yourself out. This person was also figuring themselves out too. And I felt like I should have really taken the time to figure out who I was. And that's another thing too, is like, at that time as a parent, are you going to jump in and say, hey, this is too soon for you to do this, you need to figure yourself out? Or do you just let it happen?
No, you just let it happen. And I feel like in your first relationship, you guys had so much in common and you both were there. It was a whole atmosphere for you now. You know what I mean? I feel like it was just meant to be at that time. Yeah.
But I felt like I became someone's plus one, like their accessory at that time before I got to be myself, because I was new. So I became immersed in their life, their friends, their world. And I kind of didn't have an identity. That was the first time in my life that I really felt like, oh, I didn't have an identity.
Yeah.
Like I felt like I didn't know who I was. Like I was like figuring it out, So
Yeah,
I latched on to somebody that had the same interest to me, who could welcome me into a world that I needed to understand better. Because I did not surround myself with gay people. I didn't know what gay culture looked like. I didn't know anything about it.
Right. And he was there already for a year or so prior
He
to,
was there for 2 years prior.
yeah. So he had people.
He had a
Yeah.
solid foundation. He had
Mhm.
friends. So I felt like an accessory to him. But I actually felt like, as I reflected on this, me and my mom, me and you, we have something in common where we jumped into relationships before we were ready to do that.
You live, you learn. You
But
learn, you live.
but I mean, how, like,
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
very parallel. Is that a nurture or nature thing? Or do you think that's something that I learned? Or
I think some people are just like that. I think there are some people who like to date and do that. I think it was more common back then also than it is now, because people now want to find who they are and what matches with them and establish their own life and careers and stuff, and then have that. I think it was more like you find someone, then you do that.
I don't know, something about year 3 is when things changed for me. I started feeling very different from how I had felt previously. Like, it's almost like I felt like it was a chore to be in this person's life at that point. Like, I didn't feel happy. Even when I had that feeling at year 3, I still stuck it out for 3 more years later.
Well, you guys really went through so many transitions together. When you
Well,
think about it, made real life altering decisions together.
we did.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like he was a big part of my life in my early adolescence of like figuring out where what I wanted to do with my life and my career and make my dreams come true.
I mean, you went to college together. I mean, what prime years? Do you know what I mean? What transformations people make in college? You go from teenager to adult in your 20s. You graduate at college. You lived, neither one of you came back. You both, from that point, lived together. You moved to California together. You had to find new careers together, like very life altering things you guys did.
Yeah, but that's the
Yeah.
thing. That's the thing that I always think is that the codependency though that kicks in where you start feeling comfortable with somebody because they're kind of your safety net. And you
Well,
start
I think it was safety net, and I think then it transitioned to more of best friends.
more of a
Like,
friend level than a intimate relationship, in my
yeah,
opinion.
I think the beginning was intimate and very boyfriend relationship, but I think as years went on, it became, yeah, a best friends. And again, because you guys did have a lot in common, you like the same things, you know what I mean? There was a lot there.
I think the biggest thing that was so difficult for my first relationship too, to let that officially go and fizzle out, was that I felt like you guys had your own relationship with him.
Oh,
And then
absolutely.
it was like, oh, well, I can't let this person go because then they're losing somebody too. You always, you took that person in as like your own too.
Absolutely.
And that is very much like how you are. I didn't have that same relationship with his family because I
Yeah.
don't think they even talked about him being gay, or that was like a conversation. I was non-existent in his family. And to me, that was very hard too, because I felt like I was almost kind of like a secret
Yeah,
that
it was very hard for me too.
I would get upset. And I saw the pain through that person because I know they wanted something differently.
Yeah.
I know that they would have loved to have brought me around, but something that I always carry through and even to my life now is, can you really say that your parent is your best friend if you can't be honest with them about who you are, who you're dating? Can your parent be your best friend if you can't disclose that information to them?
Maybe that's what their definition of best friend is.
But can you really call someone your best friend if you can't share a significant part of your life and who you are authentically? Is that a best friend? It almost feels like you live a double life. Can you call someone your best friend if you live a double life to them and they don't know who you are in this way, but how you act around your friends, your significant other, these people know you as one way, but then you're claiming that your parent is your best friend, but they don't know you in that way? Can that be a best friend?
I don't know.
It's hard for me to wrap my head around that
Yeah.
because
Yeah, me too.
you are my best friend and I share everything with you. And I feel like, oh, I can't imagine calling you my best friend and not being able to show up for me and show you who I am and authentically know who I am. Like, I could never imagine me saying my mom's my best friend and she doesn't know who I'm dating. She's never met him. I keep that part of me quiet, or she doesn't know the secret part of my life that maybe I'm a go-go dancer in West Hollywood. Like, I can't imagine anything off the table from you if I'm claiming you're my best friend.
Well, I mean, that could be the same as saying, "Oh, me and my family is really close," and them not knowing anything about your life or keeping it a secret. You know what I mean? Like, that could be it too.
There's a difference between saying close and someone's your best
Mhm.
friend.
Yeah.
Don't you agree?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, if I'm telling people my mom's my best friend, we have the best relationship. She's there. She doesn't even know I've been in a 6-year relationship with this person's never met him.
Yeah.
And you don't know that about me. Are you really my best friend? Because it's almost like you're hiding that part of your life from that person. Can you genuinely say that person is your best friend?
I mean, me personally, no, but to somebody else, maybe that's their interpretation. They talk about other things, but they think that those other things make them a best friend, not about their personal life. I mean, I find it hard to believe that you could say that, because I would think as a mom, as a best friend, like, there's no boundaries. But then are we such the extreme that we don't know the other side of, oh, you can still say your mom's your best friend, but there's certain things you leave out? Are we just extreme?
I just feel like it's using that word really depicts a very genuine, transparent relationship.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to wrap my head around if somebody could claim their parent's their best friend, but their parent doesn't know the side of them that other people do. It feels like, as my mom, you know every side of me, the good,
Yeah.
the bad, the ugly, the crazy bitch, the neurotic, the
But
anxious.
but is that the extreme? Are we the extreme? So we hold the bar so here that other people can say, "Oh, my mom's my best friend," but they have certain boundaries too that they just don't talk about. They could be a best friend with the emotional part of them and not their personal,
But
right?
when you say, even if your best friend, say it's not your family member, if you say, my girl right here, she's my best friend, does your best friend know everything about you but one thing? No, she mostly likely is going to know everything about you, right? Are you hiding things from your best friend? Because then to me, that's not, why are you using that term to classify your relationship with them?
Because maybe on my terms it's best friends, but I still have things that I just keep private. Like, to me, that's my best friend, but me personally, I'm still can keep things private.
Do you think a best friend should know about your sex life?
No.
You don't think a best friend should know about your sex life?
I mean, in funny way, yeah, I guess in like funny conversation.
You don't want your girlfriend showing you dick pics of their men. It's like, be like,
No.
girl, he knows how to lay it
No.
down, spit it, hang it,
No.
hit it.
No.
You don't want to know any of that.
No, I don't want a picture or anything like that. Like, if we're like talking girl talk or whatever, then it can come up like that. But the very specifics of it, I don't know if we really need to know.
Then I have something to break to you here on the podcast.
Oh, Lord.
I don't think me and you can be best friends then,
Oh, stop.
because you've called me and I haven't answered, and you've said, why didn't you answer me? And I said, girl, we were taking it to Pound Town in the next room and I left the phone out in the living room. I told you, and I was like, sorry, it was a little bit before I got back to you. We were having some one-on-one time.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, if someone wants to spill it, I'm not going to sit and be like, no, I don't want to hear it. I think it comes to, I don't want pictures.
Fuck the pictures. You keep bringing up fuck the pictures. If you're my best friend and you're my mom, like, you're my mom, you're my best friend. I know what you do for a living. I know what irks your
Are
nerves.
you going to know? Do you want to know specifics when I have sex?
Yeah, I do. Actually, I
No,
do.
you
Yes,
do
I do.
not.
Yes, I do.
No,
I know
you do not.
Yes, I do. Because I know you're going to want to ask me questions because you've been out of the game for a minute. You're going to say,
I know how to have sex. I'm not going
Do-
to ask you a question. What, I need pointers from you?
do I bite it? Like, do I kiss it like
No,
this?
Stop.
Do I suck it like this?
Stop. Yeah, I don't think I need pointers.
Okay, you know how to
Jesus.
you know how to lay it down?
I would think so.
You sure?
Yeah.
Girl, it's 2025.
I think
You-
it's different for me to talk to you about it versus you talking to me about it.
You know how to blow this man's motherfucking socks off?
I don't know. I guess
Exactly.
we would find out.
You can't be, what is it called? A princess pillow or pillow princess?
I don't
What's
know.
it called? A snowflake when you lay there? Oh, starfish. Oh my gosh. Remember that one time at our family Christmas party, the question was, who's most likely to be a starfish in this room? And my mom won unanimously. And it was
What
like,
was the
what?
game? Yeah, what was it called?
It was like, who knows you the best?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And we went around the table.
I
Who
didn't even know what that was. Well,
didn't-
I'm like, oh, it's so cute. I'm a starfish. And you guys are like, no, mom.
don't take that compliment.
So like, that's so cute. Yeah. And you were literally like, mom, what are you talking about? And I'm like, really?
That's what I'm saying. You don't think you're gonna call me and ask me if you got to put your leg up here or leg back there, or if
But
you got
I
to.
don't feel like I come across as that kind of person. I feel like I come across a little like,
You come across like you use a vibrator.
I don't come across like a prude.
You don't. No, not a prude. I don't find you to be sexually forward.
Do you not know what a Gemini is? You read about Geminis.
I don't think that you don't have game. I just don't.
I think that a lot of people there didn't know what starfish meant.
Sweetie, I hate to break it to you. I think everyone
And
there
they
knew what it was.
and they thought it was like what I thought. It was like, oh, cute. That's Barb. She's cute. She's a little starfish.
Oh, mom, you're so cute. Everyone knew what it was but you. So that's why I think you're giving delusion. You're giving delusion, sweetie, but I love you.
On that note,
I tried to fix the relationship, I felt like, in different ways. One of them being trying to like open it, which honestly, I think that was just me trying to like keep this person at bay because I love them as a human and I liked having them there because I did enjoy their company
yeah.
at times. And I did, but then I felt like, oh, I want to escape this because it's almost like I haven't been able to discover this part of me yet. So let me free my sexual liberation, or let me be just a gay adult and just live my life authentically, and that's really where I felt like things started to take a turn. The relationship completely changed from what I knew what it was at one point. I think I kissed somebody on New Year's and didn't even feel guilty. That's how I knew it was over,
Yeah.
in my opinion. But the guilt I carried from other moments, the stuff I did while we were open, that I knew he wouldn't be okay with. I felt bad about myself for that for a long time. And I didn't feel like I wasn't proud of that version of myself. Like I was like, oh, if I'm doing this, I have to question the things that I'm doing, talking to other men, flirting, actively participating in those things. I'm like, that's not who I am. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a very open, honest person. And I felt like I was seeing this version of myself that just felt like very gross. It just didn't feel like me,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I said there was a moment that I distinctly remember. Me and my boyfriend at the time, agreed we were going to be open. And I felt like it was very sloppy. It was like, no parameters. I thought at that time that's what gay culture, hey, everyone can do it. You can make it work. And, I thought, me mixing somebody who was not happy with themselves at the time and an insecure person at the time, not a good combo. To me, it's a recipe for disaster. And we didn't build a strong foundation at the time to then try to pursue something like that.
Yeah.
So
That's a whole different level. Yeah.
there were times
And
that I
I
felt like,
said to you that I wasn't real fond of that idea. And I said,
why was that?
someone always gets hurt in that situation. It's not going to work out.
Do you believe open relationships can always work out?
No. Someone's going to get hurt. Someone's going to be done with it, but not want to say it because they don't want to lose the person still. Or someone's going to click with someone and then that person's going to be out. Like, it's just, yeah.
I think there's a difference. I think open relationships won't work if you are not ready to face the truth. Facing the truth of knowing that the partner that you're with, you're not in love with them. You're just complacent with just having them around and you like their companionship, but like there's not there's
I
not.
don't know about that.
What do you mean?
I don't know about that. I think there's still people who love each other.
No, I'm saying I don't think an open relationship is going to work if you are not in like if you're more in love with the idea of chasing other men or other people, women, and you got somebody at home, but like you're more focused on the outward, but this
Yeah.
person's there, that to me is an issue.
Yeah.
It's almost like having your cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
And I do feel like in life you do have to make like conscious decisions as you grow and get older to realize like what's my priority here. If you two are united together and have a game plan and say this is what it is, these are the boundaries, this is what it's doing,
Yes.
have at it. I think you could be successful at it. But when I hear people that are friends or people that I know that, you know, the person they're in the relationship with, they haven't even been intimate together, or they haven't done intimate things as a couple. They don't even know what's going on their day to day, but they're like, we're open. I'm like, it feels like that's a blanket and a shield for just acknowledging that your relationship isn't existing anymore. It's non-existent. And you're using outside things to cover it up, in my opinion. I remember a time that was pivotal to me is that, you know, we were open and I felt like we didn't have strong parameters built in. And I remember one night I was out and I remember I came home the next morning because I ended up staying over at this couple's house. And I came home and I remember I cried to you because I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just did something, because I can't tell this person I'm upset by this.
Yeah.
It's killing me. Like I felt so heavily that I knew that I could hurt somebody that I cared about. And I did it. And there was no other person to blame but other than myself. And I remember how awful I felt. And I came into your room and I was crying and you hugged me. And I always remember about that because it felt like it was a growing pain, literally, that I experienced doing that. I don't think you ever think that you could be like someone who cheats or does that to somebody, or you could be that person. I would think, oh, I never would do that, you know? And I was like, oh, I did that to somebody. And living with that, to me, like knowing that you're holding that over you is a horrible feeling.
Yeah.
Have you ever cheated on someone?
I wouldn't say like cheated on someone. Yeah, no.
Oh,
I
shit.
mean,
Girl, what are you holding in the
no.
vault?
I wouldn't say cheated on someone.
An emotional affair?
Yeah, probably. I would say more of that. Yeah. Like hanging out with someone and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you had an emotional affair?
I guess. I mean,
Okay,
it's
that's
before I was married. It was before I
oh,
was
okay,
married.
okay.
Yeah.
But did he know about it?
No.
Did that make you, is that what clicked in your head? Did you feel guilty about that?
Yeah. And then all of a sudden it was just like one night I was just like, what am I doing? Like what? And then that was it. Yeah. I think like a year later we got married.
And that never happened again?
No.
Like knowing what you have went through, like to me, I'm like, oh girl, that's the least you could have done. That's fine. No big deal.
No, because that's disrespectful. Like that's not, yeah.
Even if somebody's put you through what our dad has put you through, you still think that's unacceptable?
Yeah, if you want to cheat on a husband, and this is my opinion, if you want to cheat on a husband or a wife or something, and it's something that you feel like you need to do, then you need to look at your marriage and kind of dip out and or take a breather or do something. You can't have both. Yeah, that's not right to either. It's disrespectful to people.
But you're a supporter of people who can work through it.
I'm support 100%. Yes.
Because we have friends that we know and people in our lives that have done things that are not something they probably both are proud of and came together to say, let's move forward with this, which I commend that a lot. I think that's really special and beautiful to be able to do that.
Totally. And I know there's certain situations that a wife or a partner or a husband, the marriage is like just done and they just don't know how to move on and get out of, you know what I mean? And then someone comes into their life all of a sudden and a beautiful thing happens. I get that also, but then you gotta kind of, okay, so this is happening. Sometimes it wakes that person up too and be like, okay, I need to be out of my marriage. I need to get my shit together.
Well, I agree with you. I think the whole part of that journey and then the journey that I like to call the slutty era, which I think after I did it, I kind of felt ashamed of myself a little bit for like kind of doing things that I didn't feel like I would actually do.
Yeah.
And I consider my slutty era like kind of playing catch up with myself. It was like,
I agree.
after, being single, having to have that moment to figure, like, that's the first time I figured out who I actually was. And I didn't even know. I was like, I don't know. It's almost feeling like you just want to rack up body counts to rack up body counts because you're like, oh, like it's time to play catch up now.
Yeah. And it's something that you then sit and are like, oh, I never experienced anything. And you kind of let loose and go wild because you want to be like, oh, isn't this what you're supposed to be doing now?
I mean, girl, there was threesomes, multiple people in a night. I mean, I'm like, it goes on and on. So,
Yes.
I mean, there was the rap sheet mugshot guy that I was like seeing for a little bit. In a very short time, we really racked it up over here. But
yeah.
I felt like those moments now when I reflect back on them, I go, I would never.
And it was also during COVID.
Which is crazy. I know, which is crazy. Well, it was during it wasn't like while we were on like full on lockdown.
No. Yeah.
But it was during the pandemic.
Yes.
And the craziest part is that I lived in a pandemic era with my ex-boyfriend. We lived together in the same apartment while I was figuring out and being a big old slut who I was. I was out here living with him. So it was like I would come home from like a hookup and then go home and be in the same house that he was in. And he probably was doing his own thing too and figuring it out. But I said we didn't have anywhere to go at one point because no one was renting. It was kind of like,
what I mean. It was a very weird time. Yeah.
It was a very weird time.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels like a version of me that I don't like. I would never, teach their own, but I probably wouldn't like sleep with multiple people in one night, which I had done. And jokes on me because two of them were friends that I didn't know were friends. And they found out that I slept with them both at the same night. And, that's not something that I probably would do now because I would think,
right. That's, now, like, that's just not you. That's just not you.
I probably wouldn't keep continuing seeing a guy no matter how handsome he was after I went over his house for the first time and was kissing him and looked over and he's got 6 mugshots that are hung up in frames while making out with him. And I'm like, oh, he's so handsome. He's hot. Who cares? Like, whatever. And I go home and look and they're like, not okay. It was pretty extensive rap sheet that I found out. And what did I do? I continued to see this person.
Yeah, there was some not so smart decisions.
Yeah. And as a good mom, you didn't say, don't see that person anymore. You let me figure it out.
Yeah, or I would just make little comments, but I would never come right out and be like, Paul.
Were you afraid to be honest with me?
I don't know if I was afraid to be honest with you.
Like, were you afraid because you're somebody who's been traumatized by their family that you think people cut people off? Were you afraid with me that if you gave me your opinion and it came across maybe judgmental or honest and you didn't think I would like it, were you afraid of being honest with me because you didn't want me to do something like that to you, even though I would never cut you off?
Maybe I wouldn't want you mad at me. Yeah. I wouldn't want you to think that I thought lesser of you also. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't want you, if I would say something judgmental or something like that, I wouldn't want you to be mad at me. And yes, I probably would think you would never want to talk to me again because that's just how I am wired. And B, I would think, oh, he's going to think I think less of him. And I always know, no matter what, you always would never want me to think less of you.
Mm-mm.
Right.
That's the one point in my life that I actually feel that if anybody were to look at me and think back on a time that they would think less of me, it would be that time. I was very more like sexually driven, more so, because I felt like I never tapped into that part of my life.
I feel like you told yourself this is something you have to do.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's like a gay agenda that subconsciously maybe gay men like kind of instill in themselves because it's sometimes what we see in society and in our environments and at parties.
I mean, I think at this point in your life, if that would happen, I think I would probably say something more now. I'm in a better place. You know what I mean? Like I can think more clearly. I think we were both going through so many transitions together at that point because that's around
that's what I'm saying. It's very weird. Like the parallel was like, you were first getting out on your own. I was like figuring out who I was on my own. We actually
Right.
didn't have real advice for each other.
We really didn't. We were like two fish floundering in the water, like sitting there thinking, what are we doing? So at
Yeah.
that point, that would be probably another reason is what advice would I be able to give you? Because I didn't even have my head on straight at that point.
But that's kind of refreshing to hear you as my mom to say, even as my mom, you didn't have sound advice for me to show me or tell me what good, healthy love or
Yeah.
relationships look like
Yeah.
because you've never experienced it and you didn't know yourself.
No.
Do you think I should be ashamed of that time?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You wouldn't be where you are now. You wouldn't have learned lessons that you learned then. You wouldn't know what you didn't want and what you wanted in a relationship. That lifestyle of hooking up and doing all of that and going out partying all night and hooking up, like you realize like that wasn't for you. That's just not. There are people who love that lifestyle. More power to them. I think you figured it out. Like you like being in a relationship.
I do.
Yeah. And coincidentally, as you were doing that, you wound up meeting Jordy, who then you were literally started out as friends, which was nice. I think that was perfect for you. You didn't jump right into it. You were friends first and you worked that out and you enjoyed each other's companies as friends. I mean, I kept saying it was more than that, but
Everybody
whatever.
was saying that. But I think that just goes to show that if you're not ready to say it yet, then no one else can tell you differently, right?
Right. You drove 3-4 hours on New Year's to go spend it with him, drove to Vegas. Then I was like, Paul, I think you need to accept. And then
Well,
I remember when you were going to ask him to go steady.
Go
Remember?
steady. The fact that you say that.
You
Well,
got
the craziest
flowers. You're at John and Vinny's.
I did. That was
Yep.
yeah.
Mhm.
Our anniversary will be coming up in July.
Yep.
I found my boyfriend now who I really believe is like my partner in life. That somebody is like I see myself building and I have and continued building a life with them that I feel like I have the most loyalty to him in any way, shape, or form because he saw me when I couldn't see myself.
Mhm.
And I felt like when I was lost, he still looked past this very like vulnerable, fragile human. I felt like he saw past all that. And he was the only person at that time that always really like showed up for me and
Mhm.
cared about me and made efforts to kind of hold a mirror to me and show me the confidence that I lost in myself at that time.
And if I do recall, called you out a couple times.
Me and Jordy, my boyfriend now, we both built this foundation of friends that I thought was so
Mhm.
special because I never had that. It was like
Yeah.
immediately boom, like always straight into it. And I think I pumped the brakes on jumping into that because I was like, I'm not going to be a relationship hopper. I was like, I'm not going to do this because I see the potential of this person. I actually love this person so much that I don't want to ruin it. And I felt like it was like for the first time in my life in a relationship, I didn't need to like talk about what it was. It just was there. And we
Yeah.
both felt it. I was like, this just feels good and it feels right. And I think it took me a little bit to unravel what was happening because it was like I came out of that long-term relationship. I had that era and I don't think I looked past of what my next relationship looked like. So when that
No.
came to me, it was like, oh, this is here.
Yeah.
And he made me want to continue to be a better version of myself. Like I always feel like innately that's who I am, but he pushed and supported me to always continue to do that.
Yeah.
And I felt like I genuinely could be myself. Like he knew me going through a period where I was messing around with people and he was doing his thing. And I felt like if you can start a relationship at that, if that person can see you at that low or that point in your life
Right.
or
That's right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I think that it just was meant to click like that.
100%. This is how I met my now boyfriend. I wanted to go to a gym and I was like, I'm not going to a gym to hook up with people. I'm going to find a new gym and I just want to make friends. So I go there. What do you think I do? Months later, I end up going to his home where his family is, his parents' house. On New Year's Day, we got drunk and I ended up hooking up with him for the first time at his parents' house, which they might be listening. So hi, Troy and Marilyn. And we did it. I remember I hit my head on the ceiling fan because I stood up on the bed and it was like, and I remember, after that happened, I left the trip And I drove back to LA, and before I left, he kissed me and we were sober. And I thought, oh shit, did I just ruin something that was so good? And I had to think with my dick and I had to make a bad decision. And now looking back, I was like, sometimes when the things that are the most uncomfortable for you are the things that are the best things for you, truly. And
Yeah.
I thought like I was ruining something by going forward with him because I never thought maybe that being a best friend with somebody first could be an entry point to a solid relationship. And I was like, no, this is exactly what it was. Like this
Yeah.
is what it was for me.
Yeah, I think you guys got to know each other. You wouldn't accept it. You would just be like, "Oh, no, we're just gonna go hang out. Oh, what did you guys do? Oh, we just sat and cuddled and watched a movie." I'm like, "Okay, that's" in my head, I'm
I,
like, "That's a date." Like, but you in your head did not want to hear those words, didn't want anything about it.
because I don't think I ever had a relationship like I don't think I had
That's
any
what
type
I'm
of
saying. You were
I
just
never did
very yes.
yeah, I never
You
did
were
things
it
like
was
that.
all friends. We're friends, like, he gets me, this and I'm like so I think you had such a really solid foundation. I feel like if you woulda hooked up early and that was then I don't feel like it would have been that foundation of what you guys built prior to that.
It wouldn't have blossomed into what it is now.
No.
So I have a confession to tell you.
Oh my gosh, I hate when you do this because I never know where it's what is coming out of your mouth.
Because I don't really think I've ever told you this because I probably felt badly that I did this because I was like, oh, I kind of feel weird now that like my mom sleeps here, but I also had like this urge to do this. And unfortunately, things happen in places that we can't control. But I hooked up in your bed twice.
Oh my gosh. And the place I'm at now?
I did, yeah.
Oh lordy. Well, luckily I clean my sheets all the time.
That feels like a rite of passage, though, doesn't it? But I acted that out in like my 20s. Did you ever hook up in your parents' bed?
Well, your hookup and my hookup are two probably different things.
No, it wasn't sex.
No, it wasn't sex.
It was like
Yeah.
BJ's.
Oh no.
Oh, it was just yours hooking up was just making out.
Yeah.
Oh, so you just made out in your parents' bed?
Yeah.
You didn't get to like second base?
Maybe. I don't know.
Oh, okay. So you're a little slut too. Don't try to act innocent. You were doing the damn thing on mommy and daddy's bed. Don't play. So you did.
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were trying to play all cute and innocent girl next door, and it's giving not that energy. So don't try
Yeah,
it.
I mean, I didn't have sex till I was married.
No, you didn't.
You literally were like,
I was like, did you? Well, because I know it's only been with one person, and that was that person. So I'm like, I don't.
and that was in grandmom's bed.
My grandmom?
Your grandma.
You fucked in grandmom's bed?
Uh-huh.
Wait, what? When you lost your virginity?
Uh-huh.
You fucked in my grandmom's bed?
Oh, don't say it like that.
You had a beautiful, intimate first moment with love and passion in grandmom's bed?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Oh, girl, I hope she's not listening to this
I
episode.
know. Mhm.
Don't play this on YouTube, grandmom. You remember that?
I remember every detail.
See, I kind of blacked out during mine. The only thing that stands out was his legs up in the air and deodorant, lube deodorant.
It's funny how you remember things like that, right?
That is funny.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember the first time me and Jordy had sex.
I would hope so. It's only 4 years ago. I'm talking 40 years ago.
True, but I still feel like you remember the first like with that person.
Yeah.
What the real full circle thing of this, where I always believe that like our lives as mom and son is that you'll be down, I'll be down. Like coincidentally, like our energies are always intertwined in some odd way. And I said,
It really is.
Now moving forward with this stage in like our lives, I like think back to, even just last week during our conversation with the post about our dad, you said you felt embarrassed for staying in something unhealthy. And I felt ashamed for acting out and having that slutty error and doing things that I didn't feel. But we needed those mistakes and those lessons to get to where we're at, honestly, is how I kind of look back on it.
I agree.
So straight or gay, 32 or 57, it's all the same shit, girl. We mess up, we figure it out, we keep going.
We pull our pants up and we get back to it.
Yep. After the hookup, we pull our pants up when we get back, and we find the next one to go over their house on Grinder, and the next one, and the next one. Because now watching you date, I feel like I'm constantly inserting myself. I'm giving you advice, overanalyzing, even getting protective. Why is that? Is it because I've been through it and want to save you, or am I doing what I wish someone would have did for me back then? Is what I started to think.
Oh, that's a good question. That's a good question. I don't know if I have that answer.
I think it's both a little bit. I think I've
Yeah.
I think I've been through it. I see how things can go. And then I also wish that I had somebody who maybe gave me that guidance. So I think, well, if I have this knowledge, why wouldn't I want to give it to the person that I love the most, which is my mom?
Yeah. But I definitely think there's the protection of me too.
Well, yeah, I feel like I've gone my whole life with always protecting you. So I'm like, why am I going to stop now?
Exactly.
Well, keeping this conversation going, because honestly, it's so good. And I feel like our guest today is going to have so much to say about the type of scenarios that I'm going to throw, situations that have happened from my relationship, real lived experience. He's hilarious. And I know that he's going to give us exactly a piece of his mind and what he's thinking.
I know. I can't wait to meet him.
So let's welcome gay dating coach extraordinaire, Lamont White. So happy to have on today's guest on today's episode. He's a certified dating coach, matchmaker, couples counselor, all the love extraordinaire. Please welcome the gay dating coach, Lamont White, to the podcast.
Hello. How you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
I'm doing great. Y'all got your PJs on.
We do. I said it's the hold on, I'm calling my mom tradition. You know, my mom is out on the dating scene for the first time ever. Barb is 57 years old and she kills me every time I tell everybody that, but I gotta let the people know.
Has to put that out there.
In the streets dating. I love it. I absolutely love it.
And you know, my mom's only been with one man. And I said it's very interesting because at one point in my life, that was the case for me too. So I said our worlds are kind of like in this parallel universe.
Okay.
Yeah.
I you know what? I know we're going to talk about gay men's relationships, but I will tell you, most gay men stop counting after a certain number. I don't know where you are, Paul, but you know, I stopped counting decades ago.
But, you know, I wanted to hop in the driver's seat and, you know, let my mom kind of be somewhat of an active passenger because we can't have her too passive. As we talk about, you know, gay dating, you know, my mom's been through my side through all my hookups, one night stands, situationships, relationships, you name it. So I think, you know, she's really gotten to see how gay men operate through the lens of her gay son, which makes me believe, you know, she actually has knowledge from both teams. You know, she could use as leverage on her own dating quest, if you will, to make her even more powerful.
It's a superhero now. I think gay men and straight men are definitely very visual. And so like attraction weighs heavier than like emotional compatibility or income or any of that type of stuff. Yes.
Well, because I said, you know, my mom's saying hi back to men on Match.com and they're throwing dick pics at her like it's a goddamn handshake at this point, you know? So
Yes.
I'm like,
and she's like, what's your name?
Where are you I'm like, ooh.
And I'm like, Match.com is giving very much Grinder energy, to say the least. So I'm curious, like, why do you think that is? Like, do you see patterns from men across the board that are consistent, whether they're gay or straight? Like, is this just like a man, like,
behavior?
Right.
Man behavior.
Yeah.
Yes. So, you know, unfortunately, our society gives men, regardless of their sexual orientation, freedom to be sexual, right? And we've taught women that they actually should not desire sex, that it should just be a part of the marital ritual so that you can produce heirs, like children, like legacy, but you're not supposed to enjoy it. So it's all about the man. So we publicly display that more. And unfortunately, women are definitely sexual beings. But if they were to express that at the level of men, then we shame them. We call them names. We devalue them. And it's just a sorry situation that we have to live in.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. Like, this is something that I think is actually different, that maybe is not fundamentally the same in terms of straight relationships and gay relationships. Is a big percentage of gay couples are open, and my own experiences, I like half-assed. I call it half-assed. I half-assed tried doing that at one point with one of my previous relationships. And that was like a mess.
Yeah. Open relationships can be really difficult, tricky, and challenging.
I always said to him, I feel like someone always gets I feel someone always gets hurt in that somehow, some way. Yeah.
So I've seen couples do it successfully, and it's funny that there's the perception that the majority of gay men are in open relationships. There are a lot of heterosexual people who are in open relationships, but they just don't know about it, right? They just both of them are stepping out, or one person is stepping out, so that makes that an open relationship. I think the difference, though, with gay men is we try to bring some type of transparency, some type of honesty, some type of I guess, if you will, type rules, like ways to see if it can work, which I think is great. But if you don't do that successfully with like a dating coach, reading a book, looking at podcasts, a lot of gay men just kind of figure it out. And then, of course, somebody's feelings are going to get hurt. Somebody feels left out. Yeah, and it becomes a whole shit show.
No, literally. Well, that was, so the guy that I was dating, I said, I think we honestly weren't in love with each other anymore. And, we think would solve it? We're like, let's do an open relationship, because that's the cure to everything, right?
No.
I'm like,
not the time to do it.
Yeah.
It is the quickest way to end the relationship. Just like straight people, they're like, oh, well, let's have a baby. Yeah, and that'll fix the relationship.
Yeah.
No.
Well, so I'll never forget, we were messing around together, and it was like with another couple. This was years ago, and it shifted to the couple being more focused on me at one point and shifted off of him. And he got so mad that he like made a noise, literally got up and left, and like slammed the door. And it was like so awkward, because it's like, here you are with like these other two people, and they're like trying to keep going, and I'm like, okay, let me show you the door to how to get out of here, because this is just not a good situation.
As soon as possible. Yeah, because you never know what you're walking into, like how much conversation the couples had about you before you even showed up. If this is this a surprise? Is this something they do often? Is it the first time? It is. I feel like with open relationships, it requires an extra layer of communication. So if you don't have the capacity just to communicate like average individuals, stay the hell out of an open relationship. No.
Well, I was gonna say I've shifted off that. I'm like, I'm in a relationship now, and that's not on the field. I'm like, you never say never, but I'm like, we're good. That's too much work, planning the rules, the break. I'm like, I'm good with that. But my mom is not going to put up with that. And I know with my gut, like most women, in my opinion, aren't going to put up with that.
You're like, no. You don't want to share.
No. Or the headaches. It's bad enough to have to deal with like one personality, then that deal with no. I'm having a hard enough time just to get to know people now.
And sometimes straight men don't even know how to please one woman, and they want an extra one. I'm like, sir.
Yeah.
Right.
You want to disappoint two people at the same time? Is that what we're doing? Yes.
No, literally.
For sure.
So I thought this would be fun to see if my mom would be able to survive gay dating. I said, she's, we're throwing already some scenarios at her, and I'm like, she's already kind of struggling on the straight dating scene. So I'm like, girl, let's see if you're better with the gays. Like you have two gay sons, you've seen it. Let's try to make it work. So, I'm hoping that I did her well and exposed her to some,
I feel like I'm knowledgeable.
You are.
Let's see.
Yeah. Well, so I want to play, could my mom survive a day in gay dating culture? So, Mom, I want to give you your opinion on where you think something could have been done differently or handled better in these situations. And Lamont, I would love for you to jump in and see if my mom had good points, or maybe if she could have done something differently that maybe you caught as a gay man that she didn't pick up on.
Okay.
Okay. So first scenario, and this is based on a true story, by the way. All these are social media stories, real stories, friends of a friend that told me. So a couple, this is a gay couple. They're open. They play together and sometimes solo. One of the boyfriends wants to mess around with someone, but the other boyfriend doesn't. So the boyfriend decides to lock himself in the bedroom while his boyfriend hooks up with the guy in the other room. An hour goes by and then, they're still going at it. He can hear everything and then he has to use the bathroom. But the only thing is that he can't leave his room because they're going at it in the living room. The boyfriend tries calling him multiple times and he doesn't answer. Are you saying fuck it and interfering to use the bathroom? Or are you letting your boyfriend do his thing until the wheels fall off?
I don't even think that's there's any like what? Like that's not bringing someone in. That's literally cheating on your significant other right in the room next to you, and then you're afraid to leave your own room. That's
yeah.
like red flags, sirens,
all of it,
confetti blowing, like
right. Oh my goodness, I feel like this is batshit crazy. I agree with you, Barb, because I'm like, if you said okay, he can do what he wants to do. Go for a walk. Go to the movies. Like go. I don't know. Go
to your car.
Go to your car. Like now you're gonna have to pee in a jar in the bathroom because you can't walk in the living room. Like
I think the biggest issue that I have with this, if I'm being honest, is that they're over the age of 40 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I will be damned if I'm 40 years old in my own home that I got it. Yeah. What is that?
No.
That's when you literally open the door and is like, get out. Goodbye. You're done. Like, how do you even keep control at that point? Like, no.
But that's where I'm trying to figure out, Lamont, is that just like a lost cause of a relationship? Like, can we go back to the drawing board and salvage that?
I don't have a degree. I don't have a degree, Lamont, but I'm going to say yes.
I think one of the things about open relationships, they're about experiencing things and then saying, you know what, last time that situation happened, I didn't feel X, Y, and Z in that situation. Can we not do that again? Or the next time you have company, I'm just going to leave, or there's a time limit. I wouldn't say it's a lost cause. I think it's the person who decided to make himself a hostage in the bedroom. He needs to work on communicating a little bit better with his partner.
The bigger thing is, if you're going to do that, at least have a bathroom in the bedroom that you're being held hostage in.
Yeah.
Mom, would you ever be able to do that and put that in a straight relationship?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
You're like, no.
Yeah, she's out.
Yeah, I'm out.
Okay. Well, so this next one is from social media. My boyfriend and I keep it open. No real rules, just trust. I jokingly said, should I text my ex? He said, if you're over him, I don't care. So I did. He said yes. The night comes, and the moment they meet, boom, chemistry. I'm watching them flirt, touch, connect, and I realized I've disappeared from my own threesome. I brought my ex into our bedroom, and he might have taken my boyfriend with him.
I think that's a chance that you take. Like, whether it's an ex or not, I feel like that's a chance you take. It sucks for that other person. I mean, that's the chance. I don't know. Yeah,
you're playing with fire over there. Because if there was, depending on the type of ex, if it was like someone you were in love with, you lived with, how the breakup ended, you are setting yourself up to reimagine the fantasy of that relationship, because there was probably a reason why he is an ex, because he's not compatible for you. Whether you're in a monogamous relationship or open relationship, any conversation should be on the table. Even to ask to have a shared relationship or a sexual experience with your ex, you should want your partner to be able to bring that to you, and then you all discuss it and you say, you know what, I'm not comfortable with that. and then you all decide what you're gonna do about that. But I think it's fine to have the conversation, but I think it's too much of a stretch.
So, Mom, would you be able to handle that in your relationship?
No. I mean, no. I just
Barb's like, I'm still good. Yeah.
She's like, no.
I'm also I'm old school too. I mean, I feel like kids nowadays, they just have a more open, like different thought process about relationships and stuff like that versus, you know, my generation. Like you said, you get married, you're with one person, you know what I mean? Like you procreate, then that's the way it evolves. Yeah.
And I think there's the generational differences. Like, I think, because like my mother, she, the last 2 years got back into dating, and she's like 66.
Aw, good
So
for her.
right, and so she may have found another one that who might be permanent. You know, I'm not gonna get cussed out for sharing information, but but the dating process that she has shared with me over the last 2 years, I'm like, oh my goodness, you don't tell your straight children, it's just your gay son, all of these details. Like everything.
Yeah.
I know way too much.
I was like, it goes both ways. Barb's going to tell me things that I might not want to know, and she knows way more than she probably should too. So,
But like you are looking for stability, security, companionship over everything. Like someone that you can trust and, you know, travel the world with. And
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that just gives me hope that your mom is that age and she's found someone and been out there dating for 2 years. Like, yes.
I will say my grandmother remarried at 74. So there's always hope.
There's still hope.
The women in my family, okay?
There's hope.
They will find a man. They will find a man.
Well, so I think this next story, also based on a real story, is interesting because I feel like this is definitely more of a very gay couple that you're able to share clothes. So my boyfriend let me borrow his favorite jacket one night. I wore it out and the compliments were nonstop. You know, damn, that looks so good on you. Wait, is that yours? You make it look chic. You know, all the compliments. I thought it was funny. He didn't. The next day he's quiet. Then he says, it's weird how people only compliment my stuff when you're wearing it. So now I know we share a closet, but not the spotlight. So Barb, I'm curious if, you know, this would maybe be a little challenging for you as a straight woman to be sharing clothes with your significant other, but
that would be a lot of red lights for me.
Like, what is he wearing?
If I walked in and he had my shoes on and my dress or
your
something,
crop top,
I'd be like, do you want to talk about anything?
Something you want to tell me?
You want to tell me before, you know,
But Barb, put yourself in that situation. Where do you think this could be fixed? Do you think this is like an issue that could be nipped, or do you think this is like deep-rooted hostility?
Insecurity. I think it's deep-rooted insecurity. Yeah. I think that's you'll have that insecurity, and that's going to go over into then like resentment towards that other person. Yeah.
Lamont, what do you think?
Oh, I'd say run for the hills, because one of the beautiful thing about being in a relationship with another man is that you get to recreate the narrative about you all's relationships, expectations. And if you are in competition with your partner, that's a problem. Like, how do you create space, grow, and live and love each other if you're upset because someone is getting compliments? You would want people to compliment your partner, and it's your jacket, so it's your taste. Like,
that's how I feel. That's how I feel. Yeah, I was in one of my relationships. I was with somebody, and it was always like that person could always be the center of attention, could always get the compliments, could be the most attractive one. But as soon as it shifted just a little bit, it was like, I'm ugly, I'm this, I'm that. And I'm like, see, that goes beyond me. Like, I don't have the capacity to take on that. That's where they got to talk to you, Lamont, and work that out.
that's when they need to end that relationship, because if someone says that they love you, but they feel like they're in competition with you, that's going to manifest itself in different ways. Like he's going to lie, he's going to cheat, he's going to talk bad about you. Like that's not someone who's on your team.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. Cause I'm like, look, if someone thinks my man's hot, then I'm like, I'm winning because I'm with that person, right?
Like, yes, give him a compliment. There was somebody flirting with my husband. I was like, I got it. Like, yes, like,
that's yours.
Like,
that's yours. Exactly. I take it as a compliment.
Yeah.
But I feel, and I want to hear what you guys think. I don't think you can salvage that. If I'm being honest, to me, that's a breakup for me, where that person's got to go work on themselves and sort through that.
Therapy. Yeah.
It's never going to work.
Yeah.
Is it hard not to, in a gay relationship, not have that competition? Like,
well, I think we as men, we're taught to be competitive.
Yeah.
We're taught to be achievers. And one of the things that for men, regardless of sexual orientation, we like conquering, achieving. So when you put two men in a relationship, you have to balance that. Like you have to be aware of that. You have to say, you know what, you're good at the finances, but you're great at connecting the family to each other. So you what you do is you let each other show up whenever each other shows their different strengths. So if you're great at that, let's support you in doing that. Not let's be competitive and say, no, I can do this better. No.
And you can't change anybody who doesn't want to be changed also.
Can't change a man. You can't change a man. You can't change a man.
Amen.
All right, Mom, after all these wild stories and lessons from the gay dating world, what's your take? What do you think? Do you think you could survive in a day in the chaos? What are you thinking right now?
No. You guys got a lot going on.
Well, what's one thing at least that you could take away maybe from this in dating, like, and take it and apply it to your own dating journey, like something to watch out for, red flags?
Yeah, I think that what I just said was you can't change someone. They need to be changed themselves, and they have to do the work. You can't be sitting there doing it all for them. They have to do it too. Yeah. And communication. I feel like that was a big thing in this conversation.
Like, and it's like if you would just take the time and just express yourselves.
Lamont, thank you so much for coming on, joining us,
Lamont.
and dropping some gems. But before we let you go, please let the people know where they can check you out.
The website is betterwaytomeet.com. And then on all the social media, it's The Gay Dating Coach.
One and only. One and only.
I love that.
Yes.
Well, we're very appreciative for you cutting out time. I know you had a busy month with Pride Month, especially. So
yes.
thanks for fitting us in. Thanks for accommodating the Hold On, I'm Calling My Mom podcast. And you're always invited to come and join us.
Yeah, and thank you for being a therapist and helping the gay community. I'm sure that they appreciate it.
We need it. We need it.
Yes. You guys do. And I feel like, there's so much you guys go through and trauma and, just coming out, and even men that are starting to come out and just want to start dating. So thank you for, taking that.
I know I'm connected to my mission in life, and it's work, but I enjoy it.
Yeah. You have to enjoy what you do. Yeah.
That's an ally right there, Barb. I'm proud of you. All right, Lamont. Well, thank you.
Have a great day, Lamont.
Thank you
so much.
I love having another fellow gay on here.
Oh my gosh. Gay, straight men are just leading with their dicks.
Period.
Like,
they really are.
They really are.
I mean, how many dick pics have you accumulated on your dating app at this point? I mean,
just the introductions of some of them are just like
trash.
Yeah, like right away. Who do they think that is going to be like, yeah, that sounds great? How many have we read that were like, absolutely not? We 2 sentences in and we're like, keep going.
You really want to believe that men, as they get older, get a little bit more wise, get a little bit more wisdom in them? Nope. They're just at full salute saying, hey girl, what's like, come on now. This is my mom you're talking to. Have some respect.
I know.
Well, I mean, I feel like it should make you feel a little bit better that everything that your 32-year-old son has gone through in his sexual liberation, his healing journey, his finding love journey, you can take all this good old knowledge,
Oh, yes.
put it in your little backpack and get on out there, girl, because we're setting you up for success, and you've seen both sides of it. I'm curious, as you move forward,
Yes.
how much knowledge you'll use from what we've learned on the podcast and what you've learned from my past experiences.
A tremendous amount.
Oddly, through this experience, our lives have been very parallel, and you've been there for me too. Maybe not with the same push, but we both have different ways of operating, of how we show up for each other in moments like this. So, maybe I'm a little bit more controlling than you are and outward about my opinions, but you let me be. And maybe I need to take a page out of your book to let you be and let you figure this out and get more comfortable on your own terms. We'll see next week, but honestly, what we've learned is straight or gay, 32 or 57, it's all the same shit. We mess up, we figure it out, we keep going. It's all one big mess and just different packaging, gay or straight, to be honest.
Period.
On that note, tune in to next week to find out. But until then, thank you as always for tuning in to us at the Hold On, I'm Calling My Mom podcast. If you haven't already, please make sure you're following us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook at Hold On, I'm Calling My Mom. If you feel like jumping into the conversation, email us at Hold On, I'm Calling My Mom podcast at gmail.com. Make sure you're locked in on YouTube every Monday at 10 a.m. PST, 1 p.m. EST. A new episode goes live, also on Apple and Spotify. So if you're not subscribed and following on there, please do so, and keep putting the word out there. Keep sharing to your friends who might be needing a little pick-me-up. Maybe they'll laugh at us. Maybe they'll laugh with us, which either way, we love engagement. So keep at it. And until next week, Mom, I will...
Hi. Oh, sorry.
Girl.
The arm was going.
Yeah, I was like, okay. Don't let me stop you. And go ahead.
No.
No, to have your moment. Have your
All right.
moment.
I was just going to say, bye. I'm hanging up now.
Call you later. We
Call
love
you
it.
later.
Love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.